Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this session. Today, we are going to talk about some interesting topics. Hopefully, they will be beneficial to you. Let's get started. My name is Mustafa Zaki, and I'm a supervisor of English and a certified trainer in Teacher Academy and a teacher educator in NTTP. The first topic today is thinking skills. Okay, understanding thinking skills. Hopefully, by the end of this session, you will have categorized thinking skills and selected questions that could be used to promote them. This is the first objective of the session today. And also, you will have learned about mnemonics and their types. And you will have learned about heteronyms. And finally, we will talk about contrasting non-verb stress. Okay, let's get started. I think Bloom's taxonomy is familiar to most of you. We need to compare Bloom's taxonomy with the national curriculum in England, and there are two different ways of classifying thinking skills, but there are similarities between the two different ways. I want you to think for a minute if you can tell the difference between Bloom's taxonomy classification and the national curriculum for England. You can stop the video for a minute, think, and then come back to discuss this together. As for Bloom's taxonomy, it's a way to categorize thinking skills. This taxonomy of thinking skills has been widely used by teachers in planning their teaching. The main idea in Bloom's taxonomy, it divides thinking skills into two levels, okay? Three basic or low order skills, and these could be known as remembering, understanding, and applying. This is the low order skills. And he also identifies three high order skills: analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So we have 6 levels of thinking skills, and we can classify them from low to high. Okay? As for remembering, you are helping your learners to say what they remember about things, to describe things they have seen, to repeat what they have heard, okay? To define things, to tell what is the identity of the thing. This is called remembering. And this is the lowest level of understanding thinking skills for any learner. The second level is understanding. It's somehow higher than remembering. Understanding describes in your own words, okay, to help learners to describe things in their own words, to tell how you feel, interpreting and understanding about it. What it means to explain things, to compare, to relate things. Okay. The third level in low order skills is applying. In applying, how can you use it? How can we apply this? Where does it lead? Okay. Apply or applying, making use of what you know, use it to solve problems, to demonstrate. And the second level of Bloom's taxonomy, the high level, the high order skills, starts with analyzing. What analyzing mean? It means what are the parts, the order, the reasons why. Okay, would like to help learners to have the ability of taking things apart, or being critical, to know about the causes, the problems, and their solutions, and the consequences. And the second level is evaluating. The next point, how would you judge it? Does it succeed? Will it, judging or assessing, how to assess work. What would you prefer, and why do you think so? These are the questions that might emphasize the skill of evaluating your learning. And finally, creating. Creating means how might it be different, or how else, what if, connecting, being creative. Suppose, put together, develop, improve, and create your own. All these questions and points that need to be focused on help students to improve their thinking skills. For example, if you are a teacher and you're teaching your students a story, what are the questions that might assess their understanding? They might test their understanding of the Bloom's taxonomy. For example, I can ask my students a question: what happened in the story? They just remember things. And if I ask them why did it happen that way, I ask them to understand and to tell what they understand. And if I ask them what will you have done, here I ask the students to apply the learning. But if I ask them which part do you like best, here I ask them to analyze the whole thing and give their own analysis. As for evaluating, what did you think of the story and why? And if I want to ask them creative question, can you think of a different ending? Imagine that. Imagine you are the writer and give us another scenario for the ending of it. Teachers need to challenge children to think more deeply and more widely and in more systematic and sustained ways. Okay, don't make the questions you ask your students is testing, remembering, and understanding only. And this is the problem we have been suffering for a long time in our educational system, that most questions, or you can say all types of questions, focusing on remembering and understanding. So we ignore the other level of understanding. We can help our learners to be more creative, critical, and evaluating. Okay. Let's go to the other way of thinking classification. It's the national curriculum for England. It's one way to categorize thinking skills comes from the national curriculum for England. This curriculum suggests the following titles to define thinking skills. They talk about information processing and reasoning, inquiring, creating thinking, and evaluating. Here we have 5 levels of thinking skills, okay? And good teaching is not just about the achieving curriculum objectives, but also about developing general thinking skills and learning behavior. As for information processing, students need to understand information, okay, organize information, represent and communicating information. As for reasoning, giving reasons, making inferences or deductions, arguing or explaining a point of view. As for inquiring, asking questions, planning research or studying, engaging in inquiring, or process of finding out. As for creative thinking, generating ideas, imagining or hypothesizing. Yeah. So we have the 2 different ways, Bloom's taxonomy and the English national curriculum. And in order to make comparison between the 2 different ways, remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, creating, this is Bloom's taxonomy. And also we have information processing, reasoning, inquiring, creative thinking, and hypothesizing and evaluating. Thus, thinking skills are divided into 2 levels. Here we have low and high. Try to come up with a definition for both of them.
Lower order thinking skills can be defined as simple and unchallenging skills, such as writing a story, factual knowledge. Higher order thinking skills involve tasks which are more difficult and challenging, such as assimilating information from multiple sources, determining its truth, and using it to make sound judgments.
And we have 2 different levels of thinking order. The lower order thinking skills can be defined as simple and unchallenging skills, such as when you are storing factual knowledge. And the second type, higher order thinking skills, involve tasks which are more difficult and challenging, such as assimilating information from multiple sources, determining its truth, and using it to make sound judgments. Let's go to teaching practice. Which do you think is the easiest to work with? Bloom's taxonomy, the national curriculum for England, and why? The second question, how often do you use thinking skills in your classes? In your classes, are there any are there any that you never use? Why not? Okay. I want you to remember that one way of promoting thinking skills is to think carefully about the kind of questions you use, the type of question you ask your students. Teachers should help the students to use a mix of high and low order thinking skills. And we need to start with low order thinking skills to help the students to take it easy step by step and then go higher with the level. Okay. Look at some of the teacher questions and learner responses from an English language lesson on the topic of healthy diet. And tell me the type of question. The teacher asked the students, "What do you think of the diet? Would you like it? And why? Why not?" The second question is, you are inviting a famous sports star for dinner. What would you serve? I want you to read the 12 questions and tell me what is the level of each question. Is it low or high? And also, I want you to match these questions with the answers here. Here are the answers. Low, high, high, low. Think about one question for low and another question for high for each of the following topics. Okay, here is the types of teachers' reactions to different problems. You know that some teachers are organizers, another are emotional, and we have realist, and also we have negative and positive teacher, and finally we have the creative one. The question here is that what is the type of your teaching style? Are you an organizer or emotional? Are you realistic or negative or positive or creative?
Teaching large groups is okay, but you have to make make sure everyone knows what they're doing and when to do it. You just need to plan really carefully. I make very detailed lesson plans. Everyone knows that teaching large groups is impossible and nobody really learns anything. I find teaching large classes quite exciting, to be honest. It can be much more fun than working with normal groups. I find teaching large classes so tiring. I much prefer teaching smaller groups. With a large group, you can do a much wider range of speaking activities, like pyramid discussions, bingo, class surveys. None of these really work as well with smaller groups. I think I'd like to clarify exactly what we mean by large classes. How many learners is it? 30, 40, 50? Teaching large groups is okay, but you have to make sure everyone knows what they're doing and when to do it. Everyone just knows that teaching large groups is impossible. I make very detailed lesson plans. I find teaching large classes quite exciting. Large classes can be much more fun. Much working with a large group. You can do a much wider range of speaking activities, like pyramid discussions, bingo, class surveys. I think I'd like to clarify exactly what we mean by large classes. How many learners is it? 30, 40, 50?
Let's go to part 2. It's mnemonics. And my question is, what mnemonics are? What do you know about mnemonics? What is a mnemonic? A mnemonic, also known as a memory aid, is a tool that helps you remember an idea or phrase with a pattern of letters, numbers, or relatable associations. Mnemonic devices include special rhymes and poems, acronyms, images, songs, and outlines, and other tools. You can look at this picture and you can imagine how important the drawing. All types of mnemonics. Well. Types of mnemonics range from simple catchphrases to the creation of abbreviations and phrases. Here are some types of mnemonics that can be used. The first type is connection mnemonic. And connection means are used when one can make a connection between something already known and the the new thing to memorize. For example, if you met a person and her name is Shirley and her hair is curly, so I can connect what already is in front of me. أنا لما بشوفها بلاقي شعرها curly. Okay, لو أنا عملت imagination okay, Shirley curly. The next time I meet her, I see the hair. I see her hair. I remember her name. And this is a connection. Another example of connection is that How to remember the latitude and longitude. Have you heard about خطوط الطول وخطوط العرض؟ أنهي فيهم اللي بالطول وأنهي فيهم اللي بالعرض؟ يعني هو اللونجيتيود اسمها خطوط الطول، وديت أصلا بتقسم it's imaginary lines، هي خطوط وهمية that divides it starts from the north pole to the south pole. From the north to the south pole. تاخد من ايه الكونكشن اللي احنا ممكن نعمله هنا عشان نفتكر؟ حرف ال N هي بتاخد من الشمال، أو كلمة longitude فيها حرف N north، يبقى أنا أفتكر أعمل كونكشن ما بين ال N هنا والنورث. ممكن نعمل كونكشنز كتير مع السبيلنج، في كلمات زي كلمة stationary 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 stationary. Remember there is an envelope. الاثنين دول homophones. قلنا قبل كده الهوموفونز هي كلمات بتبقى نفس النطق. Stationary stationary. This the only difference between them is only one letter. واحدة فيهم تنتهي بال A R Y والتانية بال E R Y. واحدة فيهم صفة adjective اللي هي A R Y معناها ثابت not moving، والتانية stationary أدوات مكتبية، الأقلام والكراسات والأدوات اللي احنا بنستخدمها في الكتاب. طيب أنا عايز أفرق بينهم، خلينا أفتكرهم. ممكن أقول لنفسي in stationary 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 اللي آخرها E R Y، افتكرها بكلمة envelope، فيها E زي كلمة envelope. الظرف ده من ضمن الأدوات الكتابية اللي هنحط فيها الجوابات بتاعتنا. ممكن نفتكرها بكلمة paper آخرها ER، هنا في ER، يبقى أنا كده عملت connection. ده النوع الأول اللي اسمه connection mnemonic. النوع الثاني اسمه image. Sometimes actual images and models are useful for visual learning. أنا عندي نوع من المتعلمين بيحبوا دايما يتفرجوا على الصور، يتفرجوا على فيديوز. الناس ديت أنا ممكن أساعدهم بإن أنا interpretation application analysis synthesis and evaluation. maps colors. خلينا ناخد مثال كمان على من mnemonics that help learners to remember the month of the years that have 31 days and 30 days and 20, 28 or 29 days. دي ممكن نفتكرها ازاي؟ هناك خلاص احنا عندنا لو طبقنا هنا بالمنظر اللي انتوا شايفينه في الصورة ده، هيبقى عندنا العظمة اللي هي الجاينت بتاعت نهاية الإصبع ديت مع الحين نسميها ناكلز. ماشي، لو أنا بدأت من ناحية الشمال أو من ناحية اليمين، بدأت أعد كل عظماية من دول بتمثل شهر بالترتيب، بس في فراغ في النص ما بين العظمة والعظمة، ده هيمثل شهر هو كمان. الشهور اللي هتبقى على رأس العظمة ديت هي اللي هتبقى 31. الشهور اللي هتبقى في النص دي اللي هتبقى 30 بس. بمنتهى البساطة الطفل الصغير هيبقى يقول كده جانيوري، ادي أول عظماية، يبقى 31. يبقى في حاجة اسمها 31 هناك. اللي بعديها هيبقى فبراير. فبراير 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 فبراير. مارش هيبقى 31 عشان بعد مية. ابريل ما فيهوش، ده في السبيس اللي في النص، وهكذا. تعالوا نشوف حاجة تانية. phase of the moon. عرفتوا كنا بندرس مراحل القمر، يسموها منازل القمر. phase of the moon. القمر من ساعة ما بيتولد بنسميه نيو، لسه جديد. بعد كده بيبدأ وهو لسه جديد يكبر، فبياخد الشكل اللي هو اليانج. وبعد كده يبدأ في الواكسين كريسل والواكسين كوتا والواكسين جيبس. هتلاحظوا حضراتكم إن النور بتاع القمر بيبدأ يكبر شوية بشوية 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 لحد ما يوصل فل نور. كويس. وبعد كده بيبدأ يقل. مرحلة الديسندنج أو الانخفاض دي بتاعت القمر بيسموها ويننج. ويننج جيبس، ويننج كوتا، ويننج كريسنت، لحد ما يبقى أولد، يمشي، يخلص الشهر. طيب كان بيجي لنا في الامتحان بقى المنظر ده بتاع اليانج والاولد، وابقى انا متلخبط، هو انا فيهم اليانج وانا فيهم الاولد. النوع الثالث من النمونكس اللي هو الميوزك. This type of music of mnemonic is self-explanatory، يعني مزيكا هتحفظ بالمزيكا بتاعتنا حلو. النوع الرابع هو النيم mnemonic، ان انا بعمل ايه بقى؟ الو 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 الو. في عندي كذا مثال على النيم mnemonic، مجرد امثله. الحاجات دي ممكن تفيدنا في تدريس الجرامر. عارفين في عندي حاجه في الكولمز اسمها الادجكتيفز، دي كلمات بتتحط قبل الناونز. كويس. انا عايز ارتب الادجكتيفز، يعني مثلا لو انا هستخدم اكتر من صفه للاسم نفسه، احط انهي صفه الاول وانهي صفه اللي بعديها وبعدين النون في الاخر. الموضوع ده ليه رول ان احنا بنبدا بالصفه اللي هي، بصوا يا جماعه خلينا نقول حاجه. انا عندي النون اهوت، ده النون. هحط قبل منه هنا adjective في اللغة الإنجليزية، صح؟ صح كده؟ adjective. طيب في كمان adjective وكمان adjective. هيترتبوا ازاي الادجكتيفز ديت؟ يعني احط مين فيهم الاول؟ خدوا بالكم ادي النون اهو، كويس. اللي يبقى لازق في النون هي الصفات التي لا تنفك عنه. يعني ايه الصفات اللي لازقه فيه؟ دي القاعده. والصفات اللي هي تبعد عن النون قوي دي خالص، اللي هي الصفات اللي هي ممكن تتغير، يعني ممكن يبقى فيها اوبينيون مثلا. يعني ايه اوبينيون؟ انا شايف ان العرض المسرحي ده حلو وحضرتك شايف ان هو سيء، فده اسم الرأي، الآراء المختلفة. فبنخلي الآراء المختلفة دي هي أبعد ما تكون عن النوع، يعني هي أبعد حاجة خالص. وبعد كده نبدأ نرص الصفات الباقية حسب قربها من هذا الإيه النوع، لحد ما ننتهي بالصفة اللي هي لازقة فيه، لا تنفك عنه. أوكي؟ فهمنا الحتة دي؟ هنرجع تاني اهوت للموضوع بتاع النوع. هتلاقي رقم واحد في الجملة بتاعتك هتبقى الصفة اللي هي الأوبينيون. وبعد كده الساينس. ليه الساينس بعد الاوبينيون؟ لانه برضه ممكن يتغير، يعني حتى النهارده ممكن يبقى طفل صغير، بعد شويه ممكن يبقى كبير. كويس. الايدج برضه بينتقل من مرحله لمرحله، الشيب ممكن يحصل فيه الكالر. لكن تعالوا بقى شوفوا الاوريجن والماتيريال والبيربز، الثلاثه دول هتلاقيهم حاجات اصلا لازقه في النار. انا لو عندي شنطه، الشنطه دي اصلا او فستان مثلا للفرح، هو هيبقى طول عمره هيبقى ويدنج دريس، ويدنج دريس. كويس. طب هو مصنوع من الحرير، يبقى سيلك ويلن دريس. يبقى هنا الصفتين دول السيلك والويلن لازقين في الدريس. طب هو مصنوع في فرنسا، الاوريجن بتاعه يبقى فرنش سيلك ويلن دريس. اوكي. طيب هو لونه ابيض يبقى وايت فرنش سيلك ويلن دريس. طيب هو طويل يبقى لونج وايت فرنش سيلك ويلن دريس. ماشي كده. طيب الفستان ده معمول بس السنه اللي فاتت، يبقى last year long white. كويس. طب الحجم بتاعه medium last year made last year long white. طب هو شايف ان هو جميل، شايف ان هو مش جميل، ده الاوبينيون. بالكم. طب انا هحفظ الترتيب ده ازاي؟ قول لي بقى بالله عليك، اديني عقل. فبدل ما احفظ طبعا حفظ الحاجات دي كلها opinion size age shape color origin material purpose، كل الحاجات دي هتترتب بالشكل ده بالترتيب ده قبل النهارده. انا ممكن اجمع الكلمات دي كلها في كلمه اساسكم. اساسكم. الاو بترمز للاوبينيون، والاس الاولانيه بترمز للسايز سايز، وبعد كده الاي ايج، والاس الثانيه تبقى شيب، والسي تبقى color، والاو تبقى origin origin، والام تبقى material، والبي تبقى purpose. الفازة دي هي فلاور بتاعت الغرض من الفلاور، معمولة من الكلاي، معمولة باليونان جريك. كويس. وهي قديمة خالص ancient، وحجمها كبير وشايف إنها جميلة. فأنا ممكن أقول nice large ancient Greek clay flower vase. الأوبينيون نفسه بيبقى فيه منه attitude و observation، يعني delicious lovely nice cool. والسايز زي big small tall huge tiny small. الايج والشيب ممكن يبقى round square, long, fat shape. The body color of the mouth, green, blue, reddish, purple. Well, origin, where is American? American, British, Indian, Dutch. Material, what is made of? Coal, wood, and plastic. Synthetic. البيربس بقى مثلا ان هو gardening, shopping, riding, racing. Before adjectives in noun plus noun, we normally have a determiner. Wonderful, large, round Spanish marble table. My brown leather riding coat. The little old man. حاجة كده في المكتب. يا جماله يا جماله. Parts of speech. أنا ممكن أستخدم النمونكس ديت إن أنا أفتكر. أنا مثلا من الحاجات اللي عندي كلمة affect. واحدة فيهم بتبدأ بحرف الإيه والتانية بتبدأ بحرف في فوق. افتكر كلمة raven هتلاقي remember affect ده الverb والإي effect ده النوع raven. برضه كلمة the اختصار كلمة they are بتنطق the، وأداة الملكية اللي بتشير الملكية للجمع بقى the حاجة ملكهم، وكلمة there يعني هناك. بقى عندي كام كلمة تلاتة. طيب أنا عايز أعلم الطلبة كيف يفرقوا بينهم، فبقول له إن كلمة theirs حاجة ملكهم يعني is not mine، حاجة مش ملكي أنا، ملكهم هم. even though I is in it، على الرغم إن فيها I، يبقى أنا كده ميزت له كلمة there اللي فيها ال I هي دي اللي بمعنى ملك. بس هي ملكهم هم مش ملكي أنا، على الرغم إن I موجودة. وأحطها له بقى بجملة كده زي اللي موجودة على المادة ديت. They they're having their coffee over there. يا دي الكلمة. النوع الخامس من النمونكس هي الأود، أغاني، والرايم، الليركس. لو قدرت إن أنا أخلي المادة العلمية بتاعتي بشكل أغنية، يا سلام يا سلام، هتبقى رائعة. ويمكن ده من الموضوعات اللي هي الكونتريبيوشن متاحة دلوقتي في المجتمع المصري في بعض التيتشرز اللي بيجيب بقى أدوات موسيقية وطبل ورقص ويخلي الحصة بتاعته كلها شكلها، والعيال بعدين يسقفوا ويطبلوا. البعض بيقول إن هم لسه ممكن يتعلموا، البعض الآخر بيقول لك لا طريقة سيئة. بس ده ما يمنعش إن هي طريقة من طرق التعلم، وهي أصلا مستخدمة منذ القدم على فكرة. 30 days September, April, June, November. All the rest have 31. So February, my dear son, it has 20, 28, and that is fine. But in leap year, it has 29. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. I believe I'm let's see.